start standing. A standing warm-up for our back. It's fairly uses a lot of the same moves we do in a regular standing Surya Namaskar. Hope you can see me and I can see you. But we'll just give a little bit more emphasis to the spine, especially the back bending part of the spine. A lot of our Suryas, we really get into forward bends, which are equally important, but we'll just give a little bit more emphasis to loosening and opening the spine, which of course also opens the heart and lung area. So I'd like to start with this little, it's called a Hasta Mudra. We're just going to breathe in, and instead of bringing the arms up, bring the arms around, kind of pull your shoulder blades together, feel that lift in the chest, and we're making circles with your arms. So the arms kind of come behind, forward, out. See if you can come into your breath. Warm that shoulder, the upper spine. Now we're going to use this motion in our vinyasa today by letting the arms stay behind and resting on the lower back, resting on the sacrum. We can use that support to lift the spine, get really long, open the chest, and already we're in a back bend. Because when our spine is that long and we're letting our gaze upward a little bit, our chest open, we're already in a back bend. So from there, we'll start the vinyasa. Just let the arms come down the back of the legs, making our way into our forward bend. Nice little spinal hang. And then step the right leg back. We're going to drop that knee for this series. So we're in a crescent lunge, coming up in that same mudra. So let the arms come out. On the inhale, our chest lifts, the arms keep going around. Find that little support to the sacrum and lift the spine nice and gently. Little back bend. And then let the arms come down. Let that front leg come. We're going to be in a modified tabletop with the arms a little forward. We're going to come into Anahata, a little puppy pose where we let the chest head towards the floor and just open up those shoulders, which is a very simple back bend. Then drop your elbows to the floor, curl the toes, and here's our plank. This is a forearm plank. We'll just hold and breathe here. Now, we're actually using a lot of strength in the spine, so it's a little bit of a counter pose. We'll hold for a couple breaths. And then drop the hips. And we end up in a back bend, kind of like our Sphinx back bend. Forearms are pressing, chest is lifting, spine is getting long. And then release all the way to the floor. Let those hands come by the chest, curl the toes, and knee down or knee up, make your way to your first down dog. And just thinking about that spine getting nice and long as the hips rise towards the ceiling. Knees can stay soft. We're still just warming up. Few breaths here. Now that same right leg is going to come forward into a lunge. There you go. Drop that back knee and we'll open into our back bend in this lunge. So hands support the lower back, lift the chest. The shoulder blades come together, the elbows almost try to come together to support that back bend. Now let the hands come down. Bring that left leg forward, a little forward bend. We're just gonna rise up like a rag doll. Let the hands sort of glide along the front spine. And we'll end with a back bend. So arms behind. You might feel it warming up. You can look up a little more. Doing okay? Or repeat that a couple times. So come to your back bending mountain, hands on the sacrum, look up, find your edge of that back bend. Hands behind, running down the legs to our forward bend. Nice and slow movements. Left leg comes back to that crescent lunge. I really like the support on the lower back. Get real high. Here's our heart opener from tabletop. Gonna let the hands go forward. Sink that chest. Let the upper back feel compressed. Elbows to the floor. Find your plank. If you can, lift your knees. Really find that power in the spine and the core in this forearm plank for a few breaths. And then lower the hips to the floor. And we end up in this nice sphinx. Heart opens, spine is long. And we're going to make our way to down dog, curl the toes, lift the hips, find that long spine. We'll just walk our way forward to our forward bend. Nice slow roll up. When we end with a back bend. So I'm going to give you the option. You can always keep your hands supporting, which always feels really good to me when I'm warming up, or the arms can begin to rise into the full back bend in this Surya series. So we're going to stay standing for a little bit, adding a little bit of backbending moves to our standing postures. Just let that right leg come back, find your warrior one position. So recognize we're gonna have a back bend here, so I want my stance to not be too wide, so I can stay really stable. And we're gonna try that back bend mudra here. Let the arms come out in that circle. Shoulder, elbows come together. Hands come to the sacrum, and we're going to take this variation of warrior one, where we're lifting that spine long into its back bend. Few breaths. Now we're going to let the hands come even closer together. It's very helpful if you can clasp your hands. If that's not available to you, any kind of a little clasp behind the back, maybe at the forearm, and open your hips out to what is our warrior two. So the hips are flat. along the side of the mat. I'm going to clasp my hands so you can see what we're going for. The hands get long in the spine, long in the back bend. And we're going to dip that left shoulder inside that right knee. You just decide how far down you want to come. This is kind of a humble warrior. It's really stimulating the spine. Let the hands and the legs, all those muscles help you come back up. And turn the feet parallel. You'll be facing the side of the mat towards your windows. There you go. Keep that chest lifted. Keep those shoulder blades coming together. We're going to do a forward bend here. Wide leg, wide angle forward bend. Letting the shoulder blades come together as much as they can. And then just release the arms. Let yourself rest in that forward bend. And we'll just take a vinyasa to link to the other side. So let the hands come forward around that left leg. Find your plank, knee up or knee down. Lower down chaturanga. Cobra back bend if that feels good. Curl the toes, down dog. And just come to your forward bend any way you want to get there. You can just take a slow walk. Find your forward bend and rise. Let the arms come up overhead so you can get the feel of how this upward salute feels with a nice little back bend. And we'll do that same thing on the other side. So the left leg comes back, warrior one. Get nice and stable in the hips, the legs, the front knees bent. And our challenge today is to bring it into a back bend by clasping behind. However that works, I'm going to clasp my hands together. It's not available to all. And just let that compression in the shoulder blades bring me into a back bend. Sort of a warrior one back bend. Look up if that's comfortable on your neck. And then shift your hips as if you're coming to warrior two. Keeping that front, both legs engaged, the front knee bent. And then we're dipping down into our humble warrior. So it's like that shoulder is coming towards that front knee. Come back up. Straighten that front leg. Let the feet come parallel on the mat. See if you can take that sort of back bend version of a forward bend here. Letting the arms come up as they can. Should feel it strongly in the shoulders. Good, and then release the arms. Just let yourself relax in that forward bend if you can. However that feels good, good job. And then we'll vinyasa out of it. So you sort of make your way over that front leg into a lunge. There you go. Back leg, find your plank. Come on down, chaturanga. Good. Cobra or up dog of your choice. Lift the spine, feel that back bend. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then finish in down dog. Yeah. Very nice back bending series. And then just get yourself to the front of the mat. You can walk, yep, or jump. Beautiful. Hang forward for a breath. And then we're just using this roll-up technique. So feel the back stacking vertebra by vertebra, but we want to end in a back bend of choice. You can use that sacrum support or let the arms come overhead, look up, and even look behind yourself if that's okay. It adds this back bending flexibility to our standing poses. Good job. I'm going to do one more series for the back before we come into our kind of peak series. We're going to come onto our belly. We could vinyasa there, but we'll just make our way to the belly. And this is a locust series to start. I don't know if you can see me. I'm gonna just here a little bit. Locust is the one where we actually use our back muscles to lift the front body and the back legs, but we'll take it steps at a time. So I'd like to start with the legs. What I like to do is turn my palms towards my thighs and actually put my thighs on my hands. Can you find that? It's a little bit of support to the back. So the arms are a little bit underneath the body. It's kind of awkward for the chin. You can put your forehead to the floor or your chin to the floor, whichever feels better to you. And then feel the right leg get nice and long. And then lift it off the ground as much as it'll lift. Keeping your hips on the hands, lift that leg. Feel all that side of the spine having to contract all the way into the buttocks, and then lower that leg. Take a breath to rest. Same thing on the left side. Engage that leg, let it get nice and long, point the toes, lift the left leg toward the ceiling without coming off the hip. Just breathe there, let those muscles work, and then lower the leg. A little breath to rest, and now we're going to try both legs. If we can. You can always repeat single leg if this is too much. Engage both legs. The hips should feel heavy onto the hands. Lift the legs up and towards the ceiling. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Let those muscles work. Lower the legs. Let the hands come out from the body. And we're just going to take a brief child pose to ease the back. So just let the hips push back towards the heels. Let that spine get long. Just rest the spine for a couple breaths. And come on back to the belly. You're going to try to lift the front body with a little variation where the arms aren't too involved. Make these little stack pillow hands, I call them. So the palms are down, they're kind of overlapping. Your forehead can rest on those hands. And we're going to try to lift the upper spine. Lift, lift, lift. Legs are grounded. Just lifting, using that lift to work the muscles of the spine. Hold and let go. We'll do that a couple more times. I like to take a little cleansing breath in the middle. Feel all that work. Inhale, lift. Sustain for a breath or two if you can, and then lower down. more time like that. Engage the legs. The hips are actually the anchor as the top body lifts up. The front part of the locust. Breathe and come down. And push back when you're ready, just to relieve the back into a nice gentle child. I like to keep my arms extended so the back can be long for this counter pose. Come on back to the belly. We're going to try to use that stimulation of the back that we just did to come into a bow pose. Let's start single leg. So if you can let the right leg bend at the knee, come up into what's essentially like a little half sphinx. Let's try that. Can you lift your upper body onto your forearms? That's a back bend. Now, if you can, I just want to see, are you able to grab any part of that back leg? If not, we're not going to worry about it. Just means that we're not ready. So we won't. We're just going to come into this half kind of bow. So our right leg's bent. Lift the chest. Feel how that arches the right side of the spine quite strongly. Might even feel it in the quadricep. And then let that leg come down. Same thing on the left. We're kind of in the sphinx. Elongating from the hip into that left leg, getting nice and tall in the spine. I'm going to grab my foot, but you don't have to. You're getting the same action. Once you can reach your foot, it's actually a help in the back bend, but little by little, we have to get there. You know, let that leg come down. And we'll say that's enough for this bow. One more child pose to release and round the back. Nice little counter pose. So roll on up, and we're going to come to standing, Carl. So when you're ready, no rush. Make your way to standing. We're going to try variations. The peak pose for this back bend series is like a dancer's pose, but you don't have to come into full dancer to get the benefits of the balance and the spinal work. So what we're going to do is we're going to let the left leg be our standing leg. Really send energy down that left leg. And see if you can bend the right knee towards the chest. You can hold it here. And I like this little pulse technique. We're going to try to keep our balance as we straighten the leg and bend the leg. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Now, if we can, we're going to transition into a back bend. So can you grab your foot or ankle or shin on that side and keep it? You got it. So that might be your dance, or kind of in that sacrum support we've been using, and just press that knee towards the floor, press the hand or shin into that back hand. You're getting good balance and back bend. Eventually, it will turn into what we call dancer, where we actually let the knee come back behind. But I think this is probably a good place for you. Let that right leg come down. And just shake it out. While we do that other side. Well, I'm gonna use my right leg to stand and get nice and tall in that leg, but energy all the way down the leg through the foot, letting my left leg come up. Check my balance. Force that right leg to work with that little pulse. Left leg goes straight and bends. Straight and bend. Straight and bend. And we're going to try that transition of reaching for that foot, coming into that kind of runner's quad stretch. And just check in with where you are today. If you can get any kind of a pressure of that foot in the hand, you'll feel how that action brings a little bit of spinal lift, eventually into a dancer pose, but this might be just enough for us today. Let that left leg come down. Come on down. All those back bends, I like to counter with a nice, easy, round spine forward bend. Just come into your version of cobbler or more like a butterfly. Little feet together at some distance that allows you to just bend between, round the spine. Release the shoulders, and we're just going to hold this for some breaths. We don't want to not let the spine back bend because it's really healthy for it. But it almost, for most of us, it really requires some good counter stretching so we don't set up any undue tension. Go ahead and use your hands. Let them help you sit up when you're ready. And we'll twist the spine out. Back bends really are a nice complement to twists. So we're going to come into kind of a pretzel. The left foot can come kind of underneath and by the right hip. Yep. And this front leg, the right leg, is trying to find a place to be in front. If it can be over that knee, yes, perfect. We just want the hips to be pretty grounded. So sometimes the foot will kind of come up. You can break that front foot a little bit. We want the spine to be nice and long and centered. We're going to twist over that front leg. So find a good place to support yourself. The right arm will come behind. The left arm's our helper. It's our anchor, our lever to help that spine twist around its center axis. We're trying to look over our right shoulder if we can. The main thing is to stay long in the spine. And just feel the edge of our mobility here. Breathe. Now go ahead and release that twist. So the spine will come back forward, and we'll try to find another forward bend. I'm going to do something called kind of a shoelace where the knees are stacking. That might be crazy for you. Your legs might come a little bit more forward. Anything's okay. We're trying to release the spine into a forward bend. And breathe. Release by just rolling the spine back up. checking in. We'll do that on the other side. So in this side, the right foot's gonna come underneath and towards the left hip. Find an ankle that doesn't put any pressure on the knee. And then that left foot tries to find a good anchor across that leg. I usually like to start checking on my hips, checking on my spine, get long, and then begin the twist. Just help yourself any way that works to twist the spine around, looking over that back shoulder. And breathe and just let all those working muscles get long. One more breath to release the pose, and then try to find some forward bending position that works. Let that torso just come forward over those legs. Spine will round. Hopefully the torso is just heavy. Letting it release. Come on out of the forward bend, just let the spine roll up. We're actually gonna come to our backs finally. Let those back muscles let go. I just always spread a blanket out to be comfortable on my back. You don't have to. We're gonna roll onto our backs from these bent knee. This just gives us a nice little core work, and it's healthy for the spine to slowly come down as if vertebra by vertebra. You can put each little spinal disc one by one on the floor, and we end up back totally on the floor. Let those arms come overhead. Let the legs go long for a minute and just stretch long. And we'll do a little leg stretch since we didn't do a lot of hamstring stretches. We can do that on the back. Let the right knee come to the chest. You can help yourself pull it towards the chest, right knee bent. Feel that release in the hip flexor. And then let the legs straighten towards the ceiling. You're going to try to find a place to hold the back of the thigh or the calf of the foot. Without being very aggressive, just let the back of the leg get long and released here for a few breaths. If the knee is a little bent, perfectly okay. Eventually we'll get a little straighter and straighter as we practice. A couple more breaths. Let that knee bend, and we're going to come into kind of like a half happy baby. So the knee's going to bend towards the chest, but actually to the side of the torso. So it's like the knee wants to come into the armpit on that side. And you just have to find a place that works for you. You can kind of crook the arm behind the knee, or whatever works. Just let that groin open on this side a little bit. And then back to a regular kneaded chest with that right leg coming in to the chest. Nice little knee squeeze. And we'll do a recline twist here. Nice, simple. We're just going to let the right knee turn and fall to the left. The right arm can come out to support. The hip raises. We're just using this shape to twist that spine. Release the spine. The hand can be wherever it's comfortable. You can look up. You can actually look away from the knee for a little neck stretch if that feels good. Few breaths. And then begin to help that knee come back to that center, the hips come even on the ground. Nice little squeeze of the knee. And then release that leg. We'll do that stretch series on the other side. Just lie here for a minute, kind of feeling everything be flat on the floor. Couple breaths. And then bend the left knee this time and find that nice release as the knee is helped towards the chest. Now, I didn't say this before, but we're going to raise the leg towards the ceiling for that back of the leg stretch. But you know, that right leg can stay bent if that gives you a little bit more freedom in the hips. Nothing wrong with that. We're really working that left leg, finding a good hold and just breathing all those long muscles long and open in the back of that leg. Kind of stretching takes a little bit of patience, that you just focus on the breath and let the muscles find their way into a release. They'll just get there little by little. And then bend that knee and come into that half happy baby. And you can keep that right leg bent. No problem. It does actually help the hips stay even. Let that knee come to the outside of the body towards the floor to the degree you can. And then back to that center knee squeeze. You can release the foot. Release the leg. Oh no, we got to twist it. So just take that knee, the left knee is going to come to the right. You're going to open that left arm. Let it be the anchor. So the knees on one side, the shoulders down on the floor on the other side, those are the anchors to get a nice twist. And that bottom leg can straighten out or stay a little bent. Whatever seems to work for your body. The neck, see what it needs. I like to look away from the knee so that the cervical spine gets part of the twist, but that can be quite a bit on the neck. You have to kind of see where it is today. Couple more breaths. And we just release very simply by letting the hips come back flat on the floor. Knee to chest. And let both knees come to the chest for a moment. Give yourself a nice little double knee squeeze. The knees can be together, kind of touching, or they can be a little wide. See what feels best for you. And you can even rock a little side to side, give yourself a little massage. Now low back. And then release, let the feet come to the floor. About hip width, we're going to come into a bridge pose, which is another way to get into a back bend. And we're hoping our spine feels good and we can do really nice bridges at this point. Let the hands come down by the hips, the palms down. Press the feet into the floor, tuck that tailbone, lift the hip, and just gently keep lifting. A little bit of the spine off the floor as you go. Find your peak, which might put a little bit of weight on your shoulders, a little bit of tension in the neck, and then breathe it on down. We'll repeat this bridge a couple times. For your own rhythm, just find that little strong back bend, press the feet into the floor, roll the tailbone. You can come to that good straight plank like you have it, just breathe there for a second, just working a lot of muscles, and then lower down, slow, slow, slow. Slower is better, very nice. One more like that. Press and lift, this will be your peak, so come up on back bend as much as you can, letting the weight come into the shoulders. You can roll the shoulders back and towards each other to give you some support there. Your legs look good, look nicely supported, and then roll on down. Last little release pose. Bring your knees to your chest again. This time I'm going to recommend we kind of hold the back of the thighs, whatever works. We want to roll along the spine. So it can be nice and gentle. I'm just trying to get a little bit of massage action along that spine. And let that action go. And we're going to make our way to Shavasana. Kind of slow motion, let the feet come to the floor. Work on your back first before you straighten your legs. You can kind of put your shoulders into the floor. Bring your shoulder blades together. Make sure there's as much flatness in the upper part of the spine. And then kind of let your arms roll out to the side. It can be away from the body. Check in to see what gives you the best release in the shoulder. And then check your jaw and your back of your neck. So I like to kind of tuck my chin into my chest a little bit, get that back of the neck nice and long, and then relax it. So get a little bit longer space in the back of the neck. And then take the right leg long, a little bit out from the body, just let that leg flop however it wants to. Once it's totally relaxed, let the left leg do the same thing. Once that leg lets go, check everything one more time, no tension. And just feel the breath wave in the body. All the muscles are relaxed and heavy. Only motion is the breath. See if you can follow the breath with a full inhale and a full exhale. Thoughts come into the mind, just let the thoughts drift away, come back to the breath. And be fully relaxed so that the work of the practice is great. Try to give ourselves plenty of time to come back into our normal body awareness, normal breath rhythm. The breath will lengthen and get a little bit stronger as we feel energy coming into the arms and legs. We take an inhale that allows us to roll to one side. And then use your arm to help you lift up to seated position, hoping that spine feels good or activated and relaxed. Just take a moment to feel what you're feeling. Close with an Om. Hands come to the heart. Nice deep inhale. Om.